Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Allison.
And this is Nerd of the Week, a randomly generated fandom podcast.
It is Nerd of the Week. We're finally here.
Hooray, we made it through whatever the heck March was.
Apparently, health comes before podcasting.
Yeah. Once in a while, you should probably put your health first over podcasting. Also, it's hard to record a podcast with laryngitis.
Yeah, it is an audio medium. And with no voice, there's no audio.
It is only a medium. So it's been a minute. Generator, sorry we haven't spoken in a while. I hope you're doing well.
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Aw. I think she missed us.
I think she did. Thanks, Generator. We're great now.
We'll get there eventually, I promise.
So what is our word? We're sorry to have interrupted.
The word of the week is houseplant.
Houseplant. Well,
I
mean, it's given very much this is what it says on the tin for the definition.
Okay. Well, I actually do have a houseplant planted in a tea tin, so there we go.
There we go.
Anyway, I think it means a plant that is kept and grown in one's house.
Yep. A plant which is grown indoors.
Okay, I thought mine sounded way fancier. You know, like plant keeping. I've kept the plant.
Well, so the other one is an ornamental plant that is grown indoors and adapts well to indoor culture. But that's if you make house
culture.
indoor culture as opposed to outdoor culture, like the trees outside. I'm from the indoor culture, not the outdoor culture.
I'm not feral.
I am, so I guess I'm outdoor culture. But the photos are all
the word that came to mind there was goblin.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You're not a goblin.
I'm mildly a goblin. I currently am playing a goblin in a D&D campaign. Her name is Spriggett, and she is being influenced by the god of demons.
The god of demons. That's an oxymoron, but okay. I'll accept it for now.
She's some evil god that's whispering into her brain, and no one else knows she's a goblin because she just pretends to be a little guy, and everyone thinks she's a child, and she's a goblin.
Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
I'm sorry, you were going to tell me about pictures on this audio medium, as you do.
All pictures of a pothos plant. That's it. There's
what
no
a
other
basic plant to pick. I don't own a pothos. I own many plants. None of them are pothos. Right. That might change this weekend, though, because I have grand plans for my bathroom, and pothos might be part of that.
That's fair. They like bathrooms and humidity.
That's what I've heard.
From indoor culture, not outdoor culture.
The shower is very much indoor culture.
Yeah. But yeah, I have the one you gave me that is thriving. I don't know why, because I literally neglect it.
Wait, is this the zigzag cactus or the purple vine?
The purple vine. The zigzag cactus I just repotted, and the wishbone cactus, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's the second I put it into new soil, it was like, yes, queen, I am here for this. And it's starting to flower, which I've never had a cactus flower in my life.
Yay! Snaps for the fishbone cactus.
Yeah, I followed a guide online, and I was like, how do I not kill this? Because it clearly is too big for this pot now. And then it was like, if it has this color, you want to put some hydrogen peroxide on the roots. And I'm like, this is how I kill this plant, listening to the internet. But apparently it worked.
Hydrogen peroxide is good for plants.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They like the oxygen in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she was like, thanks, queen. I'm going to have a good time. And she's now exploded into many different layers. And I see little buds, and she's trying to flower.
I'm so excited for you. That's so good.
Yeah.
Can I speak about a cactus that I own?
You may.
It's one of my darkest confessions.
Oh, no.
I maybe shouldn't be saying it even.
Oh no.
I have a Christmas cactus that I did not purchase, nor did I get as a gift.
Did you?
Took a leaf.
Oh no.
I
Allison.
made a propagation. Now, let me tell you, though, it was on an already well-discounted Christmas cactus after the holidays, and the plant itself was still perfectly sellable. It was a very good, healthy specimen. I just did not want to pay $8 for it, but I wanted one. So anyway, I had that leaf, and it flowers like 5 times a year. It's not just a Christmas cactus. It's an all-year cactus.
The Schlumbergera.
What?
The scientific name is the Schlumbergera
Oh,
for Christmas cactus.
wow. That's quite a name.
That's why I had to say it, because I was reading it and I was like, that is a word that I have just read, and now I need Allison to know about it.
Thank you. Now the world knows about it. This wonderful indoor culture.
The vine plant that you gave me is now like crawling up the side of the mirror in my living room.
That's amazing. My portion of it that I still own almost died. I only have like a 3-inch section of it left that I had to like re-propagate. So this time I'm committed to let it thrive. So as soon as its roots are big enough, it's actually going in the soil this time.
To be fair, I think I bred this thing to be like the Be a Man song from Mulan, because I literally left it in the water for a year. Ripley sat on it when we moved, and then I went, oh, I should do something with this plant, and then put it in soil, and the plant was like, this is the one chance I get, guys, let's go.
Well,
and he's been
mine
doing
has
great
been
ever since.
slowly withering away, and I don't think keeping it in water for 3 years was the right way to go.
No, only a year is the correct way to go, even though I've read that this plant is really hard to keep alive, and I'm like, interesting.
I mean, so far we both still have the plant. Yours is just doing better than mine. I might need some of it back if this one dies.
I can propagate it because he's shooting off like extra branches now.
That's perfect. All right. Well, that was it for our podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We were just going to talk about our plants. Like, let's be honest. The plant girl and the converted plant girl. Let's go.
Yeah. I guess we should probably actually talk about the real podcast stuff,
I
though.
suppose. All right. Tell me about your houseplant podcast.
Okay, I will. As you may recall, I was incredibly excited to bring this thing when I heard the word houseplant, and I knew exactly right away because I've been just waiting for a chance to bring this lovely thing. You'll never guess what it is. I don't know how you possibly could.
Okay.
It's this wonderful little book, which apparently is a coffee table book, but my mother purchased it at a Scholastic book fair for children. So, I don't know. It's all over the place. But anyway, it is called Higgledy Piggledy Pop, or There Must Be More to Life, by Maurice Sendak. Are you familiar with Maurice Sendak as an author?
I'm going to Google him, but he sounds familiar.
He's like an old writer. Let's see. This was published in 1967. He's like a writer and an illustrator, and his illustrations are like nice, like line drawn, very pretty.
Did he do Where the Wild Things Grow?
Yes, yes, that's it. That's the other famous one for sure.
Okay. All right. I'm familiar with Where the Wild Things Are. I don't know this one specifically.
Okay. Well, I really don't think you would. As I said, it's a weird one. It's a coffee table book, but it's not actually. It's not like a big coffee table book. It's just a tiny little square. It's approximately maybe like 7 by 7, I would guess. I don't have a ruler. It's not important. Anyway, I'll just recount the story and you'll see why I brought it. It's wonderful.
I'm assuming there's plants in it.
There are. Okay, so Jenny, first off. Actually, Jenny is who the book is dedicated to. The book is about her, but it's a fictional book. So anyway, Jenny is the sweet little Wheaton Terrier who lives in a house. And I'm just going to like read the first little sentence here because it's just going to set up who Jenny is for you. Okay. So it says, once Jenny had everything. She slept on a round pillow upstairs and a square pillow downstairs. She had her own comb and brush, 2 different bottles of pills, eye drops, ear drops, a thermometer, and for cold weather, a red wool sweater. There were 2 windows for her to look out of and 2 bowls to eat from. She even had a master who loved her.
Oh.
So that is our sweet little terrier, Jenny, who has everything. And
My soul
also,
hurts.
I asked myself, in 1967, what 2 bottles of pills did this dog have? I don't know exactly what kind of vet medicine they were practicing back then, but it doesn't seem like 2 pill bottles worth.
Jenny has heart failure and is on pimobendan and furosemide.
They didn't have pimobendan back then, you know that.
Do I?
Anyway. So little Jenny had everything.
Okay.
But she wanted more. She didn't just want to live in this little house. So she
Sounds
packed
like
up
Ripley.
everything. What?
She sounds like Ripley.
Yeah. She sounds like any dog who has everything. They want more. I want more. So she packed everything up into her little leather bag with gold buckles. So fancy. It must be Chanel. And she is saying goodbye to the houseplant that lives on one of the windowsills. Now, my mother and I have gone back and forth of what this plant is, because the picture of it looks like a daisy, but the leaves are definitely geranium leaves. So we don't know what kind of plant we were going for here, but
It's a fake plant.
I don't think so because of what happens next. So the plant actually talks to Jenny. And Jenny's like, I'm leaving. The plant's like, but you have everything. Why are you leaving? And she says, well, I don't know. I want to see what else is out there. And then she nibbles a leaf of this plant. So we better hope it's not something poisonous, whatever it is.
At least Jenny's a dog and not a cat.
Exactly. Well, it really doesn't look like a lily, so I think we'd be fine. Hopefully
Okay.
it's not in the allium family, though. Those are toxic. Mm-hmm. The bad Allison.
Bad Allison.
Anyway, so the plant's like, well, you have 2 windows and I only have 1. And Jenny's like, I know, but still, I think I'm going to leave, and nibbles another leaf. So they keep talking, having this back and forth of the plant trying to be like, look at all the things you have. It's wonderful. You have a wonderful life. And Jenny's like, nah, I'm leaving. And she keeps eating leaves and petals and the stalk until finally there's nothing else left of the plant.
Aw.
And Jenny says, there must be more to life than everything. And the plant had nothing to say, for it had nothing left to say it with,
Oh,
is what it says here in the book.
that's so sad.
Which is so sad. I know. So Jenny destroyed the plant. The plant now has nothing, which maybe can be interpreted as like, look at how all these people with everything are destroying everything. And all these people who have hardly anything. But
Yeah.
we're not going to read too much into that quite yet.
Take that, worldviews.
Don't worry, we'll get more into worldviews as we go on. Remember,
boy.
this is a coffee table book for adults. All right, so the next thing that happens, Jenny, she goes out and she meets on the corner this pig who is wearing a like sandwich board that says free sandwiches. Oh, by the way, we're looking for a new leading lady for the world class Mother Goose Theater. And Jenny's like, oh, that sounds like fun. And she tries a sandwich. And the pig is like, hey, you looking for something different? And she says, I sure am. And he's like, well, call our number. And she says, that's great. I'll do just that. And he says, well, what kind of experience do you have? And she's like, well, I don't have any experience. I have lived in a house my whole life. And he says, oh, well, you need to get experience first. And she's
God,
like,
ain't
well,
that the truth?
how do I get experience? And all the time she's eating the sandwiches. So she has a ham, a Swiss cheese, a turkey. She saves the salami one for the end. She has a BLT somewhere in there. She eats all the sandwiches.
Jenny has 2 meds because she has pancreatitis.
There you go. What does she have? Metronidazole and what else did they have back then?
Serenia's new too.
I know.
A probiotic. Probiotics aren't new.
Okay, fair. Or maybe they gave her steroids. They might have thought
They
steroids
always
back
gave
then.
steroids. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so probably some steroids and some Metro. It'd probably reduce the inflammation. It'd probably work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Make her hungrier anyway.
Well, she definitely is hungry. Oh my gosh, maybe she has Cushing's. Maybe one of them is trilostane.
Oh, no.
I don't know when trilostane came out.
All right, now I gotta Google that. When was...
She is a little white dog, and she's kind of fat.
2008.
Oh, really? How on earth did we treat Cushing's before then?
Cry a lot?
Okay, when you said cry a lot, you said it like the words kind of squished together, and I thought it was the name of a medication that you had found.
Do you have some horrible endocrine disease? Take cry a lot.
Ask your doctor if cry a lot is safe for you.
Side effects include crying all the time.
And death.
And death. Minor death, not major death.
Oh my goodness.
An actual side effect I heard on TV once. Minor death.
Oh. So
Still
I guess
to this day, don't know what that means. But
greater restoration could probably save you still if we're playing D&D.
that's true. You just have to be like next
way too many rabbit holes.
It's been a minute since we've recorded it. It's fine.
This book is short anyway, so we can go down some rabbit holes. So anyway, back to the pig with the sandwich board that Jenny is talking to while eating sandwiches.
Yes.
He's telling her that she needs experience, and she's like, well, I'll try and get some experience, but how will I find you? And he says, well, don't worry, we'll find you if you've got experience. She's like, oh, okay.
Sketchy,
but she has
okay.
to get the experience by the first night of the full moon, which is apparently soon. The moon is apparently almost full. Doesn't tell us exactly
How
what phase
oddly
of the moon.
specific.
It just says the moon was nearly full. So who knows? I don't know. She's got a few days, sounds like. Much
Nearly
less than a
headless.
month.
How can you be nearly headless? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, she's got to go around. She's walking around town with her little bag, and she comes across the milkman, who is a cat. A giant cat by the looks of this picture, because he's in the coach, like driving it, and then there's a horse pulling it, and he's like about as big as the horse.
Wow.
It's a weird little picture. So anyway, she says, hey, can you give me a ride somewhere? And he says, well, sure. Where are you going? And she says, wherever. I'm just going somewhere. He's like, okay, well, go on ahead. I guess you maybe you're going to the countryside. Maybe you're going to be a new nurse for baby. And he kind of like, he's like slyly asking this of like, hey, maybe I can get you a job somewhere. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So she's already getting experience here. Going to go be a nurse for baby. And baby is capitalized. Baby is its, quote, name for now.
Okay.
It's also very good fortune that she was caught by the not caught, but picked up by the milkman, because she gets to eat a dozen eggs and drink all the milk and yogurt. Oh, and I was going to say it's strawberry yogurt, something you can't have, but it's raspberry yogurt, something you can only half not have. But she was very excited to have breakfast, even though she had just had 6 sandwiches. But
honestly,
whatever.
though, I'm living this life. I would love to just constantly be eating.
Right. While they're traveling along, the cat's like, so you're going to be the 6th nurse in about 6 weeks' time. And Jenny's like, well, why? What happens to all the other nurses? It's a bit Mary Poppins-esque almost.
Yeah, a little bit.
And he says, well, they just disappeared. And he says, maybe they were fed to a lion.
Okay.
Again, very slyly. He's a very sly little cat.
Oddly specific, but okay.
Jenny's like, oh, well, that's awful. But, oh, well, I guess I'll go for it anyway. So
I guess we'll figure it out.
She gets dropped off at this big house in the country. And this is a funny line. She says, I wish you luck with your future deliveries. And she ran up and pulled the bell, and the milkman had nothing to say, for there was nothing left to deliver, because she had eaten it all. Oh, Jenny's just stealing from everybody, leaving chaos in her path.
Jenny,
not a care in the world.
Knows what she likes, and it is eating food.
Yeah, it is. So she rings the bell, and the parlor maid comes, and she's like, "Oh, you must be the new nurse." And she's like, "Well, okay, hold on. I'm just gonna read it how it's said here because it's very funny." The parlor maid opened the front door and said, "You must be baby's new nurse." "Well, I'm certainly not nurse's new baby," snapped Jenny, proud of her quick repartee.
Oh, God.
So not only does she steal, but she's also mean.
Yeah.
I bet she bites.
She probably does. She probably needs to be muzzled at the vet.
Probably. So anyway, she's led on inside, taken to the kitchen. She's like, "You must deliver breakfast to baby. It's your first task." And Jenny was real excited because she's like, "Oh, I'd like some food first. You know, I can't deliver breakfast on an empty stomach."
Literally has been eating this entire time.
Right. So the maid's like, "Okay, fine. What do you want?" And she's like, "Pancakes, buttermilk pancakes, please." And the parlor maid like quickly mixes up some batter, and Jenny like falls onto the ground, and she's like, "I need the pancakes." And
Oh my God.
Maid's like working as fast as she can, and she's like, "What's the matter with you?" And Jenny says, "The doctors call it jumping stomach." So I guess
Jumping
that's her
stomach?
That's her diagnosis. Oh my God, she has a hernia. That's what it is. That's her problem. She probably regurgitates everything she puts in her body, so she's always hungry.
Poor baby.
Oh no. So in that case, her medications, she probably got some cisapride in there and probably some sucralfate.
Yeah.
That's probably, or maybe it's Reglan instead of cisapride. But
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, stop trying to diagnose the fictional dog, Allison. It's not helping.
It's funny, though. I'm here for it.
I don't know if the listeners find it funny, but whatever. It's our podcast. So anyway, going back to Jenny. So she eats her pancakes, and the nurse kind of gives her the deets of like, "You can't faint on the job. You got to get baby to eat, and baby never
How
eats."
do you not faint on the job? Like, how...
Well, she just did. She just fainted because she wanted pancakes. She was faking it. She didn't actually faint, but the nurse didn't know that.
But, like, because, like, fainting is not a voluntary situation, as far as I know.
True. Yeah.
So that seems like an arbitrary rule. Anyway.
But, you know, she's trying to get experience, and I think sometimes they show you tough love when they're trying to, like, say, "Can you really do this? Huh?
Yeah.
Can you really not faint?" A feat that few have ever experienced. So, anyway, Jenny's like, "I'll do it. I can make her eat. Watch me." And the nurse is like, "Well, good luck. It'll be good experience if you can." And Jenny's like, "Oh, experience? Yes." You can just imagine her little ears perking up here. So anyway, she then's like, "Well, what's baby's name, by the way?" And nurse is like, "Baby doesn't have a name. Or if she did, we've all forgotten it."
The
And
memory
Jenny's like,
of my father's name has been lost. Oh my goodness.
So Jenny's like, "Well, why can't you like just ask her parents?" And the nurse is like, "Her parents aren't here. They've been gone for ages. We're watching baby for them until they come back." And Jenny's like, "Well, call them." And the nurse is like, "They didn't leave a number." It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're not coming back. They really aren't.
I don't think they're coming back,
So
Jenny.
this is just a household tending to baby who won't eat and apparently hasn't eaten for who knows how long. Weeks at this point, it seems like. So I don't know.
Hope.
But anyway, they take her on down the hallway with the dinner, or the breakfast rather, and Jenny goes into the room with baby. So the nurse, or the maid, goes in first, and she's like, "Baby, here's Jenny, the nurse, and your food." And baby says, "No, eat." And Jenny's like, "Oh, okay, well, look at your breakfast. You got some orange juice and some oatmeal and some vanilla pudding and an egg." And Jenny's like, "What if I just like sampled it and made sure it was okay for you?" And she does. She samples some of the breakfast. And she's like,
never eaten in her entire life.
Never eaten in her entire life. She's just like Ripley.
She is just like Ripley.
So anyway, Jenny, she drinks some of the orange juice and she's like, yum, yum. And baby's like, no, yum, no, yum. And Jenny's like, you don't need to shout. Oh my gosh. And she apparently spills the orange juice all over her little terrier beard. And she doesn't like that. And then baby's like, shout. You know how babies are. And Jenny continues to sample the breakfast. And baby continues to yell and saying, no, eat. You no eat. And Jenny's like, I'm going to eat. And baby's like, no, bite. And Jenny's like, I will bite. And then baby bites Jenny's tail.
Oh.
Because baby is apparently a savage. And
speaking of feral.
Right? Now, Jenny doesn't like that. She yips and hates it and knocks over the rest of the breakfast, which she's very sad about. And then Jenny, being angered at this point, she's been wronged. Her tail has been bitten and the food has been spilled. She grabs
biggest tragedy.
baby. It is a tragedy. She grabs baby and stuffs her into her little briefcase that she's been carrying this whole time. Baby doesn't want to be in there, so she throws out Jenny's medications and her brushes and her combs and her cushions, everything that she brought with her in her little bag. And Jenny, of course, is mad about that as well. And baby's like, you can't do this. You're gonna be eaten by the lion. And Jenny's like, it really was bad of me to eat your breakfast. I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have eaten the vanilla pudding. I hate vanilla pudding. But she ate it anyway.
Honestly, mood.
Honestly. So baby is in the bag, yipping and howling, just as you'd expect a baby in a bag to do. And Jenny's like, you know what? I'm just going to take the baby out of here. Like, I don't need the baby to stay here, and I don't need to be eaten by the lion. So she's really standing up for herself finally. So she goes and she calls an extension on the phone that she remembered. And it was 1212. And she thinks this might be where the parents are, because it was described as being a castle. And she'd heard this. She remembers, ding, 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 back when she was talking to the pig. It was the Mother Goose Theater. It's the extension for it. So she calls, and somebody is on the other line. And she's like, hello, this is the nurse, and I need to speak to the baby's mother. And she's like, hey, it's me. I'm the baby's mother. I'm so glad you called, because, we moved to this castle and we forgot our address and our phone number. We just didn't know how to get back in touch with you guys. So thank God you finally called us.
What the hell?
And Jenny's like, well, you forgot baby too. And Mother's like, yeah, we know. Can you send her back to us, please? And
terrible mother.
Jenny's like, yeah, she's already packed. She's a sassy little girl. And Jenny's then like, I'll put a stamp on her and just put her in the mail. And Mother's like, no, you can't do that, because the postman never comes this way. Not because you can't mail a baby. Just because.
No, that's perfectly logical. That's fine.
Right. And the lady's like, so what you need to do is you need to give her to the lion, and the lion will find us. And Jenny's like, wait, what lion? And the lady hangs up the phone. So now Jenny is still lost as ever, but knows that somehow she has to get baby to the castle. And that's also kind of where she wants to go. So Jenny's like, well, fine. I guess I'll just have to go there myself. So she gets kind of lost in this big house, and she goes down the wrong staircase. It's not the staircase out, of course. Of course, it's the staircase that goes down to the basement, where, of course, the lion is.
Naturally.
Of course. So she encounters the baby, and the lion, she encounters the lion. And in the bag, baby mumbles, lion eats. And the lion says, yeah, I think I will eat. I will eat you, you little fat dog. Poor Jenny is like, no, don't. I have the baby. And the lion's like, oh, the baby? And Jenny's like, yeah, yeah, the baby of the house, I need you to take her somewhere. And he's like, yeah, I haven't eaten baby for a long time. That'll go down real smooth.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. And Jenny's like, no, we need the baby to get to her parents so that she'll eat. And the lion's like, well, if she won't eat, I'll eat her. We'll solve the problem. It's fine. Like, he's being very logical about it, of course. It's just not the right logic for Jenny. Jenny says, no. I know the secret code word. I know I have to tell you her name. Someone had told her that if she tells the lion baby's name, that he'll not eat her. I don't remember if it was the nurse or the mother. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so Jenny's like, wait, let me see if I can come up with it. And she like opens the bag and tries to like see who's going to respond. And she just starts like yelling random names. She's like, Anna, Barbara, Sophia, and nothing is responding. Nobody says like, that's the baby's name. And she's like, please don't eat the baby, please. And like, she's in a desperate attempt to not have the lion eat the baby. And she's like, please, I just need you to not do this. I need to like get this experience down pat because I need it so that I can join the Mother Goose World Theater. And the lion stops right before he's about to eat the baby. He's like, what did you say? And she's like, I need to join the Mother Goose World Theater. And he's like, oh, okay, that's her name. It's like, what? The baby's name is Mother Goose, apparently.
Oh. Okay.
Of all the twists and turns.
I'm so confused.
Yeah. So anyway, the lion says, very well, I will take the baby to her parents. And he runs off with the baby and Jenny's bag, leaving Jenny all alone. He doesn't even bother to take Jenny. So now she has absolutely nothing. Oh, how the high have fallen, or the mighty have fallen. So she goes out and wanders. She's listless. She ends up finding shelter under a tree, and she philosophizes. That's not a word. What is the word I'm looking for? Philosophizes? She talks to the tree in a philosophical manner.
All right, there you
go. She's like, I have nothing. And the tree says, I have nothing either. And Jenny's like, oh, but you do. You have your roots, and you have all of your leaves, and you have the wind blowing through the leaves, and you have the songbirds that come sit in your branches. And she's like listing off all these things that the tree can have. And it's, reminiscent of back at the beginning where she was talking to the houseplant. And the houseplant's like, look at all the things you have. And Jenny's like, no, I don't think so. So it's like, get a perspective. Now that you've seen what it's like down here, you can build yourself back up again. Well, anyway, she kind of starts bemoaning her life, and then she realizes, oh, if the moon is full, I guess I didn't get my experience.
Oh.
When over the hill, as the moon is rising, she sees some figures in the distance. And who could they be? Why, it's the milkman, and the maid from the house, and the pig with the sandwich board. They've come to find her, because they are all actors in the World Mother Goose Theater as well. And this has been her casting the entire time, and they all think that she has wonderful experience, and they're cordially inviting her to come and join the theater company. Hooray!
What?
And then she realizes that the moon, it's getting closer and closer, and bigger, and suddenly it's not a moon, it's a giant lady. And
yeah, okay.
And she says, who are you? I've not met you before. And the lady says, no, eat. And Jenny's like, baby? Is that you? And she's like, yes, I was never baby to begin with. I was always Mother Goose. And just like so weird. Like, how has she transformed from a baby into this like old woman? It's very strange. I don't quite understand that part. But anyway, so they're like, you're going to be the new leading lady. And it's in this play called Higgledy Piggledy Pop. And Jenny's like, oh my gosh, Higgledy Piggledy Pop, how beautiful. And everybody is in it. All the characters who we encountered, including the lion, he gets a starring part in this wonderful show. And then the end of the book is basically just this quick little, like, it's almost like a flip book of the play. Mm-hmm. And it's a really dumb little play. And I'm just going to read it to you right quick because it will take 2 seconds.
Okay.
So it starts out with the maid who's mopping, and Jenny like comes in from the side of the stage and she says, Higgledy Piggledy Pop. And when she says pop, she surprises the maid who throws the mop at her. And she eats it, of course, because she's a dog who eats things.
Right.
And the maid says, the dog has eaten the mop. And then Jenny plays dead.
Okay.
And then the pig comes in with medications, so she gets her meds back. And it says, the pig's in a hurry. And then he runs out the window. And then the cat comes in. He says, the lion's loose. And the cat's got to scurry, or the cat's in a flurry, excuse me. And then the lion comes in, and he says, higgledy, higgledy. And then pop, Jenny regurgitates this mop handle back out of her stomach, and it hits the lion on the head, knocking him unconscious and saving the day.
Uh-huh.
So that's the play that she got to star in for getting her grand worldly experience. And then there is a little epilogue. It says, now Jenny has everything. She is the finest leading lady the World Mother Goose Theater ever had. Jenny is a star. She performs every day and twice on Saturday. She is content. Once, Jenny sent her old master a letter. This is what it said. Hello. As you probably noticed, I went away forever. I am very experienced now and very famous. I am even a star. Every day I eat a mop, twice on Saturday. It is made of salami, and that is my favorite. I get plenty to drink too, so don't worry. I can't tell you how to get to the castle yonder because I don't know where it is. But if you ever come this way, look for me. Love, Jenny. So I don't know if she really learned any lessons, but she did get experience, and she did eat a houseplant.
Okay. You know,
what do I know?
I don't know anything.
I'll say
it wild ride.
It was a very formative book for me in my childhood. When I was in elementary school, my parents would always read to me before bedtime, and it was a much requested favorite book to be read. And sometimes we would skip like the whole narrative part. And if we didn't have a lot of time, like if we were late getting to bed, and we would just read the higgledy-piggledy-pop part at the end. And I thought that was great fun.
Adorable.
But let it be known, it's not a children's book. It is an adult coffee table book meant for philosophical thinking.
Okay. With some wild plot twists at the end there, but...
Yep.
You know, fair enough.
I think they just had to like kind of pull all the ends together and tie it up quick.
Yeah. It's like,
really
this book can only be
develop
this
the
many
whole
pages.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, if you ever get a chance to look at it, the pictures are great too.
Okay.
And it is quite funny. It's very like satirical, matter of fact. Oh, it's almost Douglas Adams style, actually.
That would explain a lot if that was a very formative book for you.
Mm-hmm. Just like the sentence structure. It's like, this is the way it is. And isn't that funny? So anyway, there we go. That's all I have to say about that.
Beautiful. Love it.
Tell me your things. Which
I have a
things
quote.
A quote first. Yeah.
It doesn't quite say houseplant, but
That's
the gist
okay.
is there. Okay. Listen, Seymour. Just because you put a strange and interesting plant in the window doesn't mean that it'll bring customers.
I know what this is from.
Excuse me, but I couldn't help notice that strange and interesting plant in the window.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you know what the quote is from, feel free to message us on forms of social media. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter. And yeah. And now...
ladies and gentlemen,
I am bringing you the movie Hot Fuzz.
What?
Hot Fuzz. Have you never seen Hot Fuzz?
I don't think I have.
All right. It is a buddy cop action movie with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. They make a bunch of movies like Shaun of the Dead and just an absurd number of like British humor movies.
Oh, okay.
It was made I think The World's End was the other one because it was in the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy. Don't know what those words mean. However, this one follows main character Nicholas Angel, and he is a well-renowned workaholics police officer who gets promoted to sergeant. And he is like a nice guy, but just a workaholic, and like only focuses on his job and being a really good detective, and not his social life or taking a minute for himself. And
just take a minute for yourself, dear.
Yeah. So it starts with him getting promoted, and it has a lot of like visual, like very fast cutscenes where like they give you a lot of information all at once. And so we get like kind of a background of like how cool Nicholas Angel is. And then it also turns out he's kind of a bit of a douche, and his officer, his ranking, whatever, doesn't like 100% like him, and tells him he needs to like chill out. And also that he's becoming sergeant, which he's excited about, but he's also being reassigned to a small rural town in Gloucestershire. I'm going to butcher the English names, but I think it's called Gloucestershire.
Okay.
And I don't think it's a real place, but like a fictional place. But it's like a quiet, quaint little town, as opposed to him being part of like the metropolitan. I think it was London. I'm not 100% sure. But like active duty. And so basically he's being like shoved out to the countryside for like a boring job, and he is not, he's a workaholic and he doesn't want to.
Okay.
And he's like, this is awful. And he gets broken up with by his girlfriend because he's a workaholic. And he's like, I mean, I've got my Japanese peace lily, and they're like, that's not a hobby. It's a plant. And he's like, well, it's supposed to help promote like a calming environment. And then they're like, no. And then there's a bunch of like shortcut scenes of him like traveling via the train system with his plant. So it's like on the train with him, it's on a bus with him, it's in the cab with him, and then he's just standing.
Gorgeous. Yes.
And he's just standing like in the entryway to the hotel with his Japanese peace lily, just like being sad. And like it's like his emotional houseplant. Emotional support houseplant that he brings with him.
Oh gosh, it would be so fun to take a plant with me everywhere. Cumbersome but fun.
Japanese peace lilies are very pretty too. And so he ends up in Sanford, and Sanford, it has just won the Village of the Year, like for so many years in a row. Like it's this like cute, picturesque, like perfect little rural town where like everything's like all neat and adorable, and everyone's smiling and happy and sweet. And he shows up to his first job, or like the police station, ? Words are hard right now. And
I got you.
And so he is going around meeting people, and he meets the neighborhood watch and learns that there's like no crime in this town whatsoever. And he's just like dying inside because he's like, there's nothing to do here.
But what will I do? But honestly, doesn't it sound like a cushy job then?
Right, but this guy's a workaholic.
You get the title, but you don't have to do anything. Okay,
right.
We are on different wavelengths.
Yeah, right. I understand. But this guy's a workaholic, so he wants to be constantly out in the field doing things. And his first night, he ends up arresting his constable for drunk driving. Obviously doesn't know it's his constable.
Oh, no.
But he finds him, or I think they were at the bar, and then he sees him like grab his keys and leave, and the guy's like clearly hammered, and he's like, excuse me? And he's like, no, so he literally arrests him, brings him to the police station with like the one jail cell they have, and throws him in jail. And the next day he finds out that this is his partner, who I think's name is Danny Butterman. Yeah,
great name.
Because it's played by Nick Frost, and he's a police constable, Danny Butterman, and he is starting to realize that Angel is very much like the like no nonsense, like nose to the grindstone type, and he's like a big fan of buddy cop movies. So he's like, oh, we can be like in a buddy cop movie, and like you can be the straight man and I can be the funny guy. And Angel is just like not here for it.
Oh.
And so a couple days go by, and Angel investigates an accident on the set of a play that's going on by the local theater, where the two lead actors of, I think they were producing Romeo and Juliet. I know it was Shakespeare. I think it was Romeo and Juliet. They had pulled them over for speeding earlier in the day. And then they're found in a car crash, and he suspects foul play. And Danny is like, they were driving too fast. Like it was an accident. They died in the car crash. And he goes to like continue to investigate, and just things aren't smelling right to him for some reason. And so Danny tries to tell him to calm down, and they end up finding illegal weapons stashed in the car.
Oh.
Right. And
Oh my.
I think there's like a sea mine, like a big like explosive device of some capacity. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit fuzzy on the details for that. I was a little bit intoxicated the first time I watched this movie, but I remember there being a sea mine and them being like, holy crap, we need like the bomb squad. And so after this shenanigan happens, they're like, maybe there was something else going on. And Angel slowly starts to become friends with Danny, and like realizing that maybe living in like this cute little country town is okay. And they start like binge watching the action films. And then at one point, Angel realizes, I want to do something nice for Danny. So he goes to the local gardening store and he buys him his own Japanese peace lily, because he's like, no, he needs one. And there's a cute little scene where they've clearly like developed a bromance, where he's like talking to, I don't remember her name, but the woman who owns the gardening store. And she's like, is it for someone special? And he's like, yeah, it is. It is for someone special. And it's like real cute, because he's like, oh, you're making a friend.
That's so sweet.
Meanwhile, a couple of more like mysterious accidents happen. Like one of the land developers' house explodes in a gas explosion, and
sure it's a gas explosion,
right? And then there is a local journalist who approaches Angel during like a village like kind of like gathering or whatever, like, all right, here's the plan. The people who are coming by for naming us the best village of the year are going to be here. So like they're like planning everything. And while Angel's distracted, one of the like statues on top of the local church falls and kills the journalist. And at this point, Angel's like, no, there is someone, like, these are connected somehow. I'm not sure how, but there's something going on. There's too many people just dying randomly around here. And for the viewer, you see like a cloaked figure every time someone dies. So it's implying that Angel's not crazy. Everyone just thinks Angel's crazy because he's a workaholic. And so he... while he's buying the birthday gift, so the Japanese peace lily is a birthday gift for Danny, Angel sees a cloaked figure sneak into the garden, the florist's shop, and like he's like, who the hell are you? And like goes chasing after him, and the cloak figure stabs the tiller, I think her name's Leslie or Tiller.
No,
it stabs the florist with gardening shears.
She did nothing wrong.
Right. And Angel tries to get the killer, but isn't able to catch him.
Wait, does
But
she actually die?
She does.
Oh,
a lot
no.
of people die in this movie.
Wow, this is a brutal movie.
It's played up for laughs. It is a comedy,
Okay.
but it's also like a bunch of people die in this movie. And then Angel suspects that the supermarket manager is the culprit because Leslie Tiller, wasn't selling her business, even though it wasn't doing well, and he wanted to expand the supermarket. And so Angel goes and investigates him, and the supermarket manager, I think his name is like Simon Skinner or something like that. Like, he's got like a sinister name, and like, you know how in like murder mysteries the person with the sinister name is usually the bad guy. And but the supermarket has a video and it has an alibi of him like literally at the supermarket working at the time of the murder.
Oh,
So
it's fake though, I bet.
so Angel is like disgruntled and is just trying to figure out what's going on. But he's like, well, obviously he's got an alibi, so now I got to figure this out. And this entire time, Angel's been staying at a hotel because the place that we were supposed to get as the sergeant is like under construction. And he is attacked in his hotel room by a very large security guard, and he's wearing the supermarket vesty thing. And he so he's an employee of Skinner's, sent literally to off Angel for stop investigating into these murders.
Oh my gosh.
And so then this is where, on top of everything, it turns into this like wild ride where it turns out that the Neighborhood Watch Association is mildly a cult and led by or Simon Skinner's in there. It's led by one of the basically like the community leaders, and they killed the Romeo and Juliet actors because they didn't like how one guy's voice sounded, and they offed the florist because she was a failing business, and if they were going to get elected Village of the Year, they needed only thriving businesses.
Oh my gosh.
So like really petty reasons to off people, and they were giving each other alibis. So like one person would vouch for another person, and then someone would get sent off to go kill someone.
Oh my gosh.
And then it turns into a absolute gunfight where Angel sneaks out. Danny like emerges with the weapons, that the illegal weapons, the contraband that they got off of the two actors, and they like gun down people in the courtyard. And it's like like action shot, like straight up from the buddy cop movies that Danny loves. And they have like this wild series of events, and then they end up in because someone in the town, I think the mayor, made a miniature of the town, and so then they end up fighting first in the town, and then they end up in the miniature. It's like a field that's set up to look like the town and with all tiny buildings, and they end up fighting in the model village.
That's outrageous, and I love it.
It's so funny, and these shots are hilarious because it like will pan up so it looks like a giant like taking over the city, like King Kong style or like Godzilla style. Delightful. And then after I think Skinner dies on the fake church because he's the one who pushed the thing up. So Skinner's one of the bad guys.
Oh wait, okay, sorry, wait.
Skinner's the one who pushed the statue off onto the reporter who was trying to give Angel more information, and so like his just desserts was falling on the miniature statue and dying on the miniature statue. Danny is injured, but he's okay. It's very much played up for like an emotional moment where we see Danny get hurt, but then he's like has a bulletproof vest on, so he's just injured, but he's fine. But so they end up arresting like half the neighborhood watch after the other half are dead in this like ridiculous fight scene, and his old boss, Angel's old boss, shows up and is like, "Hey, good job with this case. Do you want to come back to London? Because since you've been gone, crime rates have been awful, and I've actually had to work." And Angel's like, "Nah, I'm gonna hang out with my friend." And then they go. So him and Danny like get back in the police car, and then they go to the bar and hang out together.
But after all this crime, there's not going to be any crime in that town. He fixed it.
Right.
He should have taken Danny back to London. Oh,
He should have. But Angel, I think Danny gets promoted to sergeant, and Angel is whatever above sergeant is. And they have a good time. And they are bros, and they hang out, and they go to the bar. And Angel learns how to have a social life.
That's really sweet. Aw. They're just some good boys.
It's a ridiculous movie. It's a very funny movie. And I would absolutely watch it with you. The first time I watched it, it was actually just recently. I've seen At the World's End and Shaun of the Dead, and I knew they were like similar in like their writing style and like the actors. I hadn't seen Hot Fuzz before. And when I was in England with Eric on our honeymoon, and we were visiting his friend over there, Ian was offended that I had never seen Hot Fuzz and like forced us to watch it. So the first time I watched it, I was in Salisbury. So I was like feeling pretty bougie watching this movie.
I feel like I could be convinced very, very easily to watch it with you.
We should definitely watch it.
When was it made, did you say?
2007?
Oh, really?
Early 2000s.
Okay, I thought it was older than that. I don't know why. I thought it was like an 80s movie or something.
It gives 80 movies buddy cop vibes, but that's kind of the point. Because they're like kind of lovingly giving homage to some of the ridiculous buddy cop movies of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But
it kind of is
silly.
giving a little bit Blues Brothers vibes as well with the big ending battle.
Yeah. I'm definitely sure it was influenced by Blues Brothers.
That's like the opposite of a buddy cop. It's like a buddy criminal, but whatever.
It's a very ridiculous... I feel like it's a parody of something, but regardless, it's very funny. 10 out of 10.
I like it. Nice. Good. And definitely featured Houseplant very strongly. I approve.
Japanese Peace Lily is referenced many, many times in the movie, and he buys one for his friend for his birthday.
Aw. It's yet another plant that I don't actually own.
Same. But it's a pretty plant.
I think they thrive on neglect and darkness.
I think that's part of the joke, is because he's a workaholic, so he doesn't really have to take care of it, and it's still fine. But
yeah, he takes it everywhere.
Yet it's his emotional support plant. Right.
Perfect.
What now? Would you like the quote again?
Oh, sure.
Listen, Seymour, just because you put a strange and interesting plant in the window doesn't mean that it'll bring customers. Excuse me, but I couldn't help notice that strange and interesting plant in the window.
So that simply must be from Little Shop of Horrors. Hooray.
Hooray.
So
I was like,
fun fact about me, I've never actually seen the whole Little Shop of Horrors, unfortunately.
I haven't either. I only know the Evil Dentist song and the bit about the plant being ridiculous. So we should add that to the movies.
We should.
To watch.
I think the plant talks. And that's why I knew the name Seymour. Because I think it says, Seymour, help me. Or feed me.
So too.
I don't know what it is. But
I think it's like a giant sentient Venus flytrap.
Isn't its name Audrey?
Something like that. I'm uncertain. However, I think we should add that to the movie list.
Oh my gosh, we've added so much to the list in this one episode.
There's so many things. There's so many good things to see.
That's the problem. So many things, not enough time. We could never see everything.
And that's part of the reason the podcast exists, so we can tell each other about the cool things that we've watched.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Oh my goodness. Well, what shall we tell each other about next time then?
Generator, do you have a word for us?
The next word is velvet.
Ooh, luxurious.
Silky. No, that's the opposite.
That's
Anyway.
silk.
That's silk. That's
Velvety.
not velvet. Velvety. It's so velvety. It's
I
indoor
think there's
culture.
actually something called velvet silk, though.
Velvet silk. I will learn about this, and then I might talk to about it next time.
Gotta go watch some textile YouTube.
I needed a good how it's made video. Like,
Ooh. I bet there is a good how it's made out there about it. I'm going to look that up immediately. I'm very interested in fabrics and fibers, so this has piqued my interest.
all right,
Well.
so we should probably end the podcast before we go on yet another tangent.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Listener, we talked for 2 hours before we actually recorded this.
We tried to get them all out, and it didn't happen.
We still had
It's fine.
tangents. Hopefully they were fun enough for you all.
Hopefully we were caused a sensible chuckle. And yeah, if you enjoyed us, please share with a friend. Let them know that we're two weirdos who talk about nerdy things and sometimes make no sense as we chat and discuss things, but I think that's part of our charm.
We like to think it's part of our charm.
We do. It's our indoor culture. Anyway, I think that's it. So thanks for listening. As always, I've been Stephanie.
And I've been Allison.
And don't let big fence get in your way, big wall get in your way. Don't let any big things get in your way.
Yeah, I don't remember what we said. It's been too long.
It's been too long. One of the two.
Oh,
Goodbye.
no. Goodbye.